Hello and happy Friday. It's Tanya here. How are you? Welcome to my page and into my kitchen. If you don't know me, I am an online digital business owner, mentor, coach, mom, many hats, and I'm living here in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. And I have been a digital business owner for over 5 years, but we're not going to be talking about business right now. We're talking about baking. So one of my favorite passions. And my husband is also part of my business. His name is Derek. And we also have been blessed with 3 beautiful children. So we've got one in university that's all the way back in Ontario now. She was here for the summer, which was amazing. And we have our middle daughter that is now started college, and she's 19. And then we have a 14-year-old son as well. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background there, but now let's dive into this. So what I've done is I have done some preparation for Foodie Friday, and today's recipe, as I mentioned, is going to be apple cake with a caramel topping. So I pre-measured everything. I did everything at the beginning because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I really just want you to join in the fun and see how this works, and maybe this is something that you want to try as well. And I will leave the recipe in the comments after we're done here, so stay tuned for that. So the first thing is I chopped up all the apples, and it calls for 2 cups of finely chopped apples. So what I did, as a little hint, if you don't want your apples to brown, just put a little bit of lemon juice in some water and then let them soak in there for a few minutes. So I'm going to drain the apples right now. And it's okay that they're a little bit wet because, a little bit of liquid is okay for the recipe. So I want to thank you for joining me as well. And I always love to know how global we are. So, put in the comments or let me know where you're tuning in from. And I'd love to give you a shout out as well. Also, on the same token, if you are watching this on the replay, I invite you to do the same. I would love to reach out to you and say hello and make that connection. And I really appreciate the new followers that I've been getting lately, and really want to get to know you a little bit better. So I put the apples in a bowl, and the next step is I've got the recipe in front of me. I've got a cup of sugar here. I like using cane sugar. I just feel like it's a little bit more healthy. It's still sugar, but I can find this in bulk or whatever. So I'm just going to sprinkle the sugar onto the apples, and I'm just going to grab a spoon. I wasn't prepared for that one. Whoopsies. So I'm just going to let the apples absorb all the sugar, and that's going to give a nice flavor. And so while we're doing this, I want to know, where are you tuning in from? And also, what is your weekend looking like? It's Friday here in Canada, Lethbridge, Alberta. We're Mountain Standard Time. So the time now is 11:25. And I don't really have that many plans this weekend. Last weekend was really busy, but this weekend, I don't know that the weather is going to be as nice. So when the weather's nice, we really like to get out. Like, our family loves to do outdoor activities together. So we live about an hour and a half from the mountains, and that's one of our favorite things to do, is to go hiking, and in the winter, snowboarding or skiing, and skating on the pond. And in the summer, more of the hiking, but also swimming in the lakes. So that's, our favorite pastimes. And then when we're at home, we love just playing yard games and things like that. Okay, so it's looking like the apples are they've pretty well absorbed the sugar. I'm going to show you what that looks like as well. So you see the sugar is absorbed. Now the next step is to add the remaining ingredients. So what it is 1 cup of flour. Got the sugar already. 1 egg. Got my egg ready here. Got the egg in there. We need half a teaspoon of baking soda. So I just like to measure it just like that. So that's going to go in there. And then we've got half a teaspoon of salt is the next one. And I love cinnamon. So whatever it calls for, I always put extra. So if it calls for a half teaspoon, I'm going to go with one and a bit. I just love cinnamon, especially with apples. I'm not sure about you, but if you love your cinnamon, go ahead and add extra. It's not going to harm anything. And so then the next thing is I am going to stir this all up so it's all together. And also you want to have prepared a square baking pan that's greased so that way it's not going to stick to the bottom of the pan, and you're all set to go. So I'm just going to give this a little whirl here. The egg is binding the ingredients together. So you're going to find that this recipe actually is going to be more apples than cake, which is really nice. It's actually really delicious. So, and you know what? You can have this as a breakfast treat if you want. I always say, why not? Life's too short. You know, it's okay to have dessert in the morning. And hey, who's kidding who? Apples. They're healthy for you, right? So I'm just going to get this. It's almost done. I'm just getting the rest of it together here. And I'll show you what it's going to look like too. I know you can see a little bit of what I'm doing here. I apologize. I've got my ring light on and I've got my phone that's holding it there. But I just can't get the angle downward as well. So, but I will hold this up to you and then you can see. So it's just, like I said, mainly apples and then a little bit of dough that's holding it together. All right. What are the ages of your kids? I'm wondering, because, you know, we have quite an age gap. I don't know if you caught on to that. That was on purpose. We were in between living spaces, and you know, we didn't know what the next step was going to be, and so we decided once we were settled into our last house, not this one, that we would expand our family. So that's why we have a 22-year-old and a 14-year-old. So I'm not sure how it is in your family with your family dynamics. Okay, so that's what it looks like. You know, it's just more apples than anything. And then I'm just going to put it into the square greased baking pan. So I'm going to go quickly here because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But you know, when you're doing this, like when you're actually preparing the cake part, I should have actually put the oven on already. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to preheat it. And while it's preheating, I'll spread the cake around. And then when the cake is baking, then we can go ahead and make the topping at the same time. So 350. I find most standard cake recipes are around the 350 mark. So I'm just going to give this a little spread around. So it's going to seem a little bit like on the thinner side. So it depends on what size of square pan. This is a 9x9. So an 8x8 would actually be really good too. Like if you have a little bit of a smaller pan, but I don't believe that a loaf pan would be that great. Just because like there's going to be, you know, it needs to be spread around and room for the rising of the cake. So, okay, we're almost done here. So I'm just using the spoon to spread it around. You can use a spatula if you want, or whatever is faster and easier for you. But I love how, like, it's a simple recipe, but it tastes so good. It really is a crowd pleaser, if I must say. I've done this many of times. So this is a tried and true recipe that you will be happy about if you do decide to make this recipe. And as I said, I'll share this in the comments later. Okay, it's pretty well spread. Spread around. All right, and this is what it looks like. So it's all spread out, and I'll just put it on the stove for now. Wait for the oven to preheat. And I've got beside me, actually, I'm just gonna wash my hands. Sorry, just 1 second. I have a little cooktop here, so I wanted to do this in front of you rather than, you know, having my back to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and the topping, got the recipe here. So what I have to do for the topping and what you're going to need is brown sugar, white sugar, a little bit more flour, some butter, like 2 tablespoons of butter, 2/3 of a cup of water, and a teaspoon of vanilla. And I meant to mention also before with the apples, as much as it calls for 2 cups of apples, I would say to be on the safe side, just have 3 apples on hand, because different apples are different sizes. You know, it depends on what you want to use for an apple. I would highly recommend something that's not overly juicy, that's going to have a lot of water, because then you're not going to have your cake rising as much. So like a Macintosh is a really good option for a baking apple. I happen to have apples from our apple tree, so hence the reason that I'm doing another apple recipe. I've got so many to go through, and I thought, what a fun way to share, you know, these recipes with you and have you in my kitchen while I'm doing it. So that is the reason for it, and I love it. Baking is a favorite pastime of mine, and I find that I don't give it enough time. So if it's something that you love to do as well, I'd love for you to join me on Fridays. So yeah, I call it Foodie Friday. And if you have a suggestion for something for next week, please let me know in the comments as well, or reach out to me. And I'd love to see what it is that you're hoping to see. And you know, if I can get that together, then that would be great, if I've got the supplies and all that. So, okay, so the next thing is I've got my pot here. It's just a pot. And now the topping is going to be made on the stove. So the first thing it says to do is combine the sugar, flour, and water. So again, I've got, so this time it's brown sugar, my 2 tablespoons of flour, and 2/3 cup of water. I already have this all pre-measured just so that it's faster. And that's a little bit of a hint as well. You'll find that you'll love baking more if you have everything out already. If you've already put everything out, and if you could even pre-measure things, then that way it just goes so fast, and it's gratifying actually, and you feel like, you know, you're on top of it. So now I'm just going to stir this in. Now the butter needs, the butter is going to need to melt, and then it's going to need to thicken. So I won't bore you and keep you on the entire time, but just so you know, you just have to put all this in a pot, put it on medium heat. Again, it'll be in the directions. And then afterwards, what's going to happen is I'll let you know, and then I'll give you the final. I'll show you, I'll post a picture or a little video of what the cake looks like when it's done. So this cake, when it's done, what you're going to do is poke holes in it and let it cool, and then just put the cooled topping, pour it on top, and then let it seep. And that's it. And you know, you're going to have this wonderful caramel topping on top of your cake, and it's going to seep right through to the cake, and it's going to be so moist, and it's almost like a sponge cake when you're done. So I hope that that's something that you want to try out for yourself. As I mentioned, it's very easy. The ingredients most people already have on hand, as I rhymed off. And the last thing is, once the cake is ready, you can also put nuts like on the topping. So you get the cake out of the oven, put the topping on, and then sprinkle some nuts on. You've already got them chopped. It's about 1/2 cup, and then that's your completed dessert. And of course, they recommend serving it either with whipped cream or ice cream. And I don't know about you, but I love both of them. So ice cream would be probably my first choice, and then, you know, whipped cream, you know, as a secondary. So, and you can go ahead and warm that up, you know, when you're ready to have, you know, leftovers later on. And it's good for a few days, you know, whether you put it in the fridge or on the counter, but I'm sure it's not going to last that long. So anyway, well, I want to say thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, my followers. And I hope that you got something out of this. I really want to inspire on any level that I can. And if this is something that you love to do as a pastime, I'd love to, you know, communicate with you and make that connection. And again, give some suggestions as to what you'd like to see as well. And of course, I'm only doing desserts. I'm a baker, but I'm not to say that I won't cook anything, but I love the baking aspect of it. And I find that, you know, talking to various other people, it's either you love baking or you love cooking. So I'm, you know, definitely more of a baker here. And so anyway, that's it for now. I hope that, again, that you're going to take this opportunity, use this recipe, you know, share it with, you know, anybody that you want. And I can't wait for you to even, you know, let me know, like come back to me and message me and let me know how it turned out for you. And if you have any other suggestions, you know, a different way that you were able to do it. All right. Well, thank you so much again for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and we will talk again sometime soon. All right. Take care. Bye for now.